Good morning.
A good Erev Shabbos, everybody.
Good Erev Shabbos, Rabbi.
This week's parsha is Parshas Bechukosai. It's funny I'm smiling because Parshas Bechukosai is not a happy parsha. It is a parsha that is full of curses, full of disasters, full of tragedies, horrible and terrible things that befall the Jewish people. Hardships, wars, people dying of strange illnesses, plagues, disease. It's not good. It's not good. A lot of terrible, terrible disasters. It does start off, it's funny, it's like, by us Litvaks, they make a joke that the Litvaks really like depressing stuff. This week's parsha is perfect. It has so many good things, they last for like 6 psukim. Oh, that's it. And then, you know what's going to happen if you're bad? Bam, 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 bam. Terrible. The whole thing. Full of terrible disasters. I can only smile because I'm Litvish. It's a terrible thing. This week when we had the Holocaust program, a program where we got to see with our very own eyes, feeling like we're there, hearing the crumbling of this rock and the sand, walking through the gates of Auschwitz, we got a little picture of what the Teichacha, the very serious criticism and the disasters that can befall the Jewish people if they sin, could look like. The Teichacha, it's terrible, it's scary, we saw it with our own eyes. I said to my class today that Rabbi Wasserman, and it wasn't just Rabbi Chanan, but before the war already, Rabbi Chanan said, my grandfather, Rabbi Chanan was killed in the Holocaust. He said that everything that's written here has already taken place. And he had not even experienced the horrors of the Holocaust yet. My wife's grandmother, Zakheim Livracha, she used to say, when she was finally liberated from Auschwitz, and she came out, they were absolutely 100% certain Mashiach was going to come within that year, momentarily. They're all getting together. When 3 years later they heard about the founding of the State of Israel, of course this is part of it. Who couldn't imagine that part of it? How could it be? Imagine trying to be there, in that feeling, in that mindset. Many, many years ago, in the 1660s, there was a fellow, in 1666, a terrible person named Shabtai Tzvi. He convinced the majority of the Jewish people, exactly right, he convinced the majority of the Jewish people that he was Mashiach. He was doing things, spiritual things, majestic, saying things. At that time, there was a woman. Her name was Glukel of Hamelin. And you could read her. I could read her diary. She writes in her diary. I remember it's majority boring. I have to warn you. But I did read the whole diary. There's a cute story there. I'll take it quick. A very cute story that Glukel of Hamelin. She writes over there that when she was pregnant, this is 1660s. When she was pregnant, so the baby. She said she had a craving. She was writing a thing. Don't ignore a pregnant woman's cravings. Speaking of that, Mazel tov to the Yuchanan family for having a baby girl. But don't ignore a pregnant woman's cravings. She writes, she said, how do you know not to ignore a pregnant woman's cravings? Because right before she was about to give birth, she really, really wanted a certain type of orange. She really wanted it. And everyone said, ignore her. She finally had the baby. The baby was born with spots, round spots all over it, and was refusing to eat, refusing to nurse. They didn't know what to do. So one of the women who were around said, find one of these oranges, squeeze it a little bit into the baby's mouth, and see what happens. They squeezed the orange into the baby's mouth, the baby's spots cleared up, and the baby was able to, so she says, able to eat. So therefore the baby, she said, don't ignore a woman's care. But that's not the most important part that people quote from it. What they quote from Glukel of Hamelin's diary is that she writes that there was this person named Shabtai Tzvi, and she remembers her parents selling everything they owned, finding a place near the port holding whatever they can hold in bags, everything they own, waiting for the boats with Mashiach to come and take them to Eretz Yisrael. That's what she writes. And then when they waited in that area by the ports, having some home there for weeks, they found out the news that he was a false Mashiach, another lost hope. Try to imagine that. By the way, those who know a little tiny bit of history know that Shabtai Tzvi was not the first fake Mashiach, and he wasn't the last fake Mashiach. So many problems, Jewish people, and it comes down. This week's Parsha, Hashem says, I'm going to give you hope. I'm going to give you hope, and it's going to be empty hope. My grandfather, Zakheim, Rabbi Zakheim, he wrote, he had a speech that he had given over right when the UN, which did one nice thing, so to speak, maybe, for the Jewish people, recognized the state of Israel. That week, when they made an agreement that there would be a state in Israel, he gave a speech in his shul in Brooklyn, in Brownsville, part of Brooklyn. And he gave a speech, and he said then, this could be it. This could be Mashiach. This could be the moment. If only we all need to work on X, Y, and Z. We don't expect these things to happen by themselves. Somebody once told me, oh, look, your beard is growing in nicely. As if that's a compliment. I said to them, a beard grows by itself. I wanted it to be like an old Yiddish saying, Nor a board vakstale. Only a beard grows by itself. It grows by itself. You don't have to do anything. But when we're talking about the tragedies that we feel, okay, we've done it, we've dealt with it, and now it's time for Mashiach, don't think it comes by itself. You've got to take a step forward. You have to believe in yourself that you too can bring Mashiach. There was a certain tzaddik who some people said about him that they think he's Mashiach. A certain tzaddik. My Rabbi Kaplan, Zakheim Levracha, he told me from his father, Rav Mendel Kaplan, Tzaddik Levracha. Rav Mendel Kaplan said that this tzaddik is not chashud, he's not suspect to believe that he's Mashiach. But he is suspect to believe that if he works hard enough, he can become Mashiach. And said Rav Mendel Kaplan, who was one of the greatest Talmidim, Rabbi Chanan Wasserman, said Rav Mendel Kaplan, and that's a good thing. That's an appropriate thing. To think that you could steig and become Mashiach, that's fine. You've got to see the Teichacha, live through it, find the English Chumash, and look through these things. You've got to read, you've got to participate in it, to know these terrible things happen. At near the very end of the Teichacha, there's one of my favorite psukim. One of my favorite psukim, and I hope this becomes one of your favorite psukim. The pasuk is right here. It's in Parak Chavav, pasuk Mem Daled. After everything terrible that happens, the pasuk says the Torah, Va'af gam zois. But despite all of this, B'yoisam be'eretz ha'yavim, when they will be in the land of their enemies, when they will be in the land of people who are against our Torah values, there will be people who say, don't wear a yarmulke. Don't care about that. Don't look so different with your tzitzis. Shabbos, that's old news. You have off on Sunday already. Why do you need everything like that? Torah, it's old book. I was by a Sfarim store. They had something in the entrance of the Sfarim store. It said, the Jewish Bible. As if there's another. The Jewish Bible. There's only one Torah. I was talking to the 9th grade this week. I was telling them that when they talk about the giving of the Torah, you know how many people in the world believe the Torah was given to the Jews in Har Sinai? The answer is 5 billion people believe that the Torah was given to the Jewish people in Har Sinai. Every Christian, every Muslim, every sub-sect of Christians and Muslims, they all believe it. That Hashem gave you and your parents and your great-grandparents the Torah on Har Sinai, and it was you. And at some point later, in a secret way, someone changed his mind because the Jewish people were all deserving. Okay, shkech. They all believe it was you. And you're in a world, be'eretz ha'yavim, this is the pasuk says, you're in a world of your enemies, those who are against the Torah. Lo ma'astim, says Hashem, I will never be revolted by them. I won't be nauseous. Right? Whatever it is you're doing, I'm not going to be nauseous. V'lo ge'altim, and I will not be rejecting you. Licha, I will not destroy you. Lahafer brisi itam, I will never give up that relationship with you. Ki ani Hashem Elokeim, because I am Hashem their God, and I will always be with you. Remember those words. Hashem will say, I know what's going on in the year 2024. I know the challenges. Who do you think made that happen? I know the tests you're getting because I expect you to be great. And if you're not succeeding, don't think that I'm disgusted by you. Don't think that I've given up on you. Don't think I want to get somebody else. I don't give up on you. I don't. And I won't. And I never will. I don't give up on you. In the Siva Shalom, he often writes, it's based on the Maharal. The Maharal says that there are 3 relationships a person has to have. A relationship between you and Hashem. A relationship between you and your fellow Jew. A relationship between you and yourself. And every mitzvah in the Torah finds a way to exist in these 3 contexts. The 3 relationships. You have a passage like this. It says Hashem will never be disgusted by you. That's a relationship between you and Hashem. Hashem expects things of you. He has hopes for you. And even when it doesn't go so well, I will never give up on you. That's a relationship between you and Hashem. Then there's the relationship between your friends. You might say, the boy in my class, he's acting like very immature. He's not up to it. He's not on my level. My friends in my neighborhood, they're not matching up to where I expect them to be. And if they really aren't, maybe it's good to get away from them. But they're not matching up to what I'm expecting of them. So you're going to say you're going to give up on them? The relationship agrees that I don't give up on you. I won't give up on you. I won't give up on you. I won't give up on you. And the final part is the relationship between you and yourself. The most scary thing is people who have given up on themselves. They look in the mirror and they say, you're not worth smiling at. You're not worth passing any tests. Going to shul, what does it make a difference if I'm there, if I'm not there? But on tefillin, not on tefillin. What does it make a difference? That's an attitude of ge'altim, ma'astim. I'm disgusted by the person I'm looking at in the mirror. That's sad. There's an avera in doing that. You don't give up on yourself. It's not my var, it's not my idea. But we know there's a mitzvah in the Torah in Parshas Kedoshim, in Chaim's mitzvah parsha. The parsha says, "V'ahavta l'reicha kamoicha." You should love your fellow like yourself. The precondition of loving your fellow like yourself is loving yourself. How can I possibly love anybody else before I do the first step? I've got to love myself. I won't give up on me. It's very, very scary. People who have given up on themselves. I want to tell you a story, and with this I'll conclude. I have a friend. I verified it again. I have a friend who lives in Los Angeles. His name is Adam Rich. He's a great guy. A wonderful, special guy. I don't know why I just remember I had a dream about him a few days ago. Adam Rich, a great guy, lives in Los Angeles. His father was not religious when he was younger. And therefore, his father, when he became religious, was never really able to learn with his kids much because he'd never learned when he was younger. So he went to the head of the yeshiva. I think his name was Rabbi Gross. He went to Rabbi Gross, that was yeshiva in Los Angeles. And he said to Rabbi Gross, what can I do? My son Adam is about to go into 9th grade. And all the other fathers, they come home and they learn with their son, and I don't know how to learn. I can read Aleph Beis, I can daven, but to learn Gemara, I can't do that. So Rabbi Gross says to him, I'm sorry, there's not much I can tell you. There's nothing to replace the experience of being in high school. When you're in high school, you can learn how to learn. Later on in life, you could make do and get chavrusas, but it's never going to replace it. So he says to Rabbi Gross, I think that's his name. He says to Rabbi Gross, sign me up. I'm going to join the 9th grade too. And he did. He joined 9th grade with his very own son. I have a chavrusa who was in that class. And Mr. Rich, who's a very successful businessman in Los Angeles, spent every morning in high school, 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade, and he graduated with that class. And when he graduated with that class, he became chavrusas with Rabbi Gross. I met Rabbi Gross by a Torah Masorah convention. I asked him, is this story true? Absolutely, the story is true. I met Adam Rich by the Torah Moshe dinner. I said, is this story true? Absolutely, the story is true. It's like a modern day Rabbi Akiva. A person who's older and jumps into it and says, it's not too late for me. But the most important part is that Mr. Rich never said at any point in this story, Ma'astim, ge'altim, lechaloisam, let's give up on this guy, let's be disgusted on him. I look at the guy in the mirror and I give up on him. He never said that. He took the opportunity and he said, he can do it, I can do it. And now he's learning there in Los Angeles. Till this day. We should be zeicha to have that feeling about ourselves. We will never give up on us. We will never give up on ourselves. The day we give up on ourselves, it's time we go to the other parts. Hashem never gave up on us. Our friends never gave up on us. And once again, and by the way, your Rebbes will never give up on you. But Baruch Hashem, we have such astonishingly amazing Talmidim. Of course we never give up on our Talmidim. But we should be zeicha to keep this feeling with us, to keep the last words of the Teichah, the last words of this criticism, of this terrible tragedy. The last words were, Lo ge'altem, lo ma'astim, lo ge'altem, lo chalesim, lo hafer. Beautiful Shabbos, Beis Hashem.